In her new novel, Portland author Jule Selbo's main character has 10 days to solve a mystery. How do we know that? Well, she gave us a clue in the title of her book, 10 Days, Dee Rommel Mystery #1.
Now, Selbo has found her way to Maine after a career in television, movies, and teaching, and now perhaps her favorite job of all, writing crime mysteries. I sat down with her to learn more.
I grew up in Fargo, North Dakota, and I was one of those little kids who was, writing little books and putting on plays in my garage. And I had a teacher in my junior high who had us making movies and writing them and directing them and casting them and editing them. And so everything like that kind of got into my blood. And I finally got to New York City, and a couple of my plays were done off Broadway, which got me jobs in television, writing for television, where I actually made some money as a writer. And I was like, oh my goodness, great, I don't ever have to act again. Those jobs took me out to LA, where I got a job working at Paramount Pictures and on a TV show. I always thought in my head maybe I would be a novelist, but I was having so much fun, and I was lucky enough to kind of get into that world, which I really loved.
Right.
And I worked with some amazing people. So
This was sort of a lifelong dream to write something in this genre.
yeah.
And you finally got to a place where it made sense and you had the time to do it, and you happened to be in Portland, Maine.
Right.
Now, I find it interesting that you really set this in Portland, Maine. You didn't just sort of vaguely make up a different city that resembled Portland. You really set the story right here and used names of very familiar places to anyone who's lived here for a while.
I really fell in love with the city. It's so gorgeous and peaceful on the outside, but there is crime, and there is the mean streets and the underbelly, and I just thought, wouldn't it be fun to explore both sides of it? And for Dee to be able to, Dee Rommel, my main character, she's single, she's got a big chip on her shoulder, she's got some friends, but she's basically out there toughing it out. There's just so many great places that she could explore and hang, and
some really colorful characters as
Yeah.
well. So tell me a little bit about Dee and the story that comes about in 10 days in your book.
Well, Dee Rommel, she's in her late 20s, and she is a policewoman, but she's on medical leave because she had an on-the-job injury where she lost the bottom of her left leg, a below-the-knee amputation. So she has to take over a case.
And that case actually, she ends up sort of holding two cases in balance.
The case that she takes on for Gordy is a very wealthy tech entrepreneur type of person and his family. And then the bad boy who just got out of prison abuses her best friend.
Right. And so she's drawn into that whether she likes it or not,
Yeah.
because her friend is very dear to her.
Yeah.
You have not been here that long, relatively speaking, a few years, and yet reading the book, as the reader, you get the sense that you really know the city of Portland, which I found amazing, knowing that you hadn't been here that long. How did you sink into what's here? I mean, you actually name restaurants and parks and that sort of thing, so you know the city so well. How did you do that in a relatively short period of time?
I walk a lot, and because I live in Munjoy Hill, it's very, it's downtown, it's so close, 5-8 minute walk away. I'd love to go to the West End. I just drive up there and walk around. I hang out at coffee shops and bars, and so I have just a wide range of friends that I've met in those places who are just full of stories.
How do you put something like this that's so intertwined? How do you write that?
Well, I think for me, character is everything, and character is built with having tons of conflict and flaws and things coming against the character that they have to defend themselves against, either emotionally or psychologically or physically. And so I really wanted to build my main character. I also wanted to build the problems and the mystery that she was going to have to deal with, the crimes that she was going to have to deal with. And I knew who the bad guys were going to be. And then I just had to kind of let it flow and see who her friends were, where is she going to hang out, what is the day-to-day, because it's 10 days, obviously it's not minute by minute, but it is day by day.
Right.
So I had to kind of figure out who she is every day and what is she doing and how can she solve this crime. I just thought if I could write something that could keep people guessing, keep them on the edge of the seat. I wanted to write a page turner.
Right.
And just have those surprises every once in a while that people would go, oh no, oh no. I just think it's fun.
Now, as the title indicates, this story unfolds over 10 days, and Jule envisions a series for her main character, Dee Rommel, where each book is a day shorter. So her next book, already in the works, is called 9 Days. We will have more information about the author and 10 Days in the 207 section of our website and mobile app.